Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the gang is not all here, but we're here in spirit. Hello, Cameron Riley. How are you?
Hello, Sybil Wilkes. Hello, Ahmed Gordon. How's it going?
How are you? What's going on
I'm
with you?
chilling,
You
doing well.
chilling. Okay. Okay. Are you truly chilling? Like, is it like a one of those days where the weather is nice and you're able to not sweat the small stuff, literally and figuratively?
Right.
We had a little downpour, so things are cooling off.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Weather's been
Uh,
great.
and Med, how are you?
I'm going good. Sybil Wilkes, Cameron Riley. How are we all doing today? It's hot down here. Not as hot in Texas, but it's hot. 85 degrees, 88 degrees, and that sounds like a cool breeze for y'all. But still, it's hot down here.
We are currently in the nation's capital and participating in an event. I'm really excited about it tomorrow. In coordination with Senator Amy Klobuchar's office and other ranking senators, including Senator Warnock and Senator Cory Booker, if I'm not mistaken. The Illinois Senator Dick Durbin and others are going to be meeting with members of the Black press and media, and so it's kind of exciting to be invited, but also to have an opportunity to sit and across the table from these people, ask them questions, or if they have questions to ask of us, and how they're doing and how our people are responding to them. I'm really not sure how it's going to go, but I'm very, very excited and thankful for the opportunity. And then we travel on to Chicago, and we do an event at the AKA Consortium convocation, and with AARP. So it's a good time, and been running. I did not sleep last night. I fell asleep just as my alarm went off this morning. Don't you hate that? At about 4:30 this morning, in order to make a 7 a.m. flight. But did you know? Tell me this, riddle me this, gentlemen. In traveling, does anybody know when they started charging you to check into your hotel room early? and not just $5-10. It's like, if you are looking to get in before 10 a.m., it's $75. If you're looking to get in before 11, it is $50, and until check-in, which is 4 o'clock. And then they don't charge you except for what you already paid for your room. And as Yolanda pointed out, we don't even get the full 24 hours, because you check in at 4 and you have to be out by 11.
Noon.
And they give
11,
you a
yeah.
courtesy. They give you a courtesy extension of 1 hour. I was aware of that. And sometimes you're able to push a little, but paying to get into your room early seems a bit that's hashtag
It
doing
sounds
too
American.
much.
It sounds very American. Charge you to come into the room early that's already ready for you to be in.
Yeah, it probably wasn't used the night before. The housekeeping staff did not have to rush and clean off the mirrors and change the sheets and all that kind of stuff. But in the we said, well, we'll wait. We'll go get some lunch and walk around. So that's what we did. But had a great lunch, by the way.
Where'd you go?
I can't
In
remember.
DC, where'd you go?
Can't remember the name of that. It was by the water, and delicious salmon. Oh my God. Perfectly.
Along the pier.
Yeah. It was really nice. So it was all good stuff. So that's my story, and that's I'm sticking with that, and I hope that everything is well with you. And the weather was really not bad either. It was really quite anything other than the hell hot of Texas. You really can't complain about. You really can't.
No.
Unless you're going to Phoenix, where they're thinking it could go up to 120 degrees. That's the news story that I did for tomorrow's
Frying egg on the sidewalk.
Yeah, it is that kind of weather, Cameron. Yeah.
Did you see the weather report? The weatherman, the local weatherman in Phoenix, something went wrong with the screen,
Mhm.
and it was saying that the current weather was, or the current temperatures in some cities was 2,300 and some degrees. And he went along with it. He's like, well, over here, if you're in there, you're gone. That's where steel melts. So it's devastating what happened to this little town, but it's no longer there anymore because 2,975 degrees, you're dead.
Oh my gosh. Even last night I was out and it was just still 95, 96 degrees. And I was saying the night before that it dropped to like 85, but
it ain't no breeze, huh? No,
nothing,
that'll go.
nothing. You're
Just
like, whoo, 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 and it's just hot air
nothing.
coming into your face. So
Yeah.
that's our tale of woe. Let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter and talk about the good work that Khameron Riley is doing in the newsletter as our political contributor. Khameron is one of our young contributors, including his younger sister, Quinn Townsend Riley, who is our LGBTQ plus contributor. She will be on with us tomorrow. And Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and Aprilette Riley is our mental health and wellness contributor. I am admittedly the proud daughter of a Chicago fireman, and Khameron, this really hit me in my heart, and it made me very proud. Tell us the story about HBCU students who are learning how to put out fires, and their connection, and how this all came to be in fighting fires.
Yeah, this is a really great story, and I'm glad that I found it. We know that wildfires, while not increasing in frequency, are certainly increasing in the
Intensity,
the square footage, and the intensity, as well as the repercussions across the continents and the land masses that we all share. We also know that, unfortunately, wildfire fighting firefighters are criminally understaffed.
Right.
And what better way to supplement that with this existing partnership between Florida A&M University, Southern University in Louisiana, Tuskegee, Alabama A&M, and the U.S. Forest Service. They've arranged this cohort model that gets Black students into learning about conservation, into learning about the protection of our wildlife and our tree canopies. And most rivetingly, it gets them in the business of fighting wildfires. They actually simulate fighting wildfires. And they get to do it alongside fellow alumni of this cohort program, fighting side by side with other Black students, with other Black people. And a lot of them have described that, when you're in, no pun intended, but the heat of the moment, and you look beside you to see who has your back, holding that heavy hose, it is an amazing feeling to see that it is a Black face that you recognize.
Yeah.
Right. Someone who is going to be watching your back, someone who's going to be willing to lay their lives on the line for you, to pull you out of that blaze if necessary.
Really
Other Black firefighters in the program, they spoke with their white counterparts, a lot of which who said that they hadn't seen a Black person before except for on TV. And they
Chicago Med.
Exactly, right. Oh my goodness. And I can't even believe that that's still a thing anymore. And they also described the feeling of when they're going into those blazes, wondering whether or not their white counterparts will truly have their back when it comes down to it. Black women make up around 0.5% of all recent firefighters.
Wow.
Black fire personnel has remained around 1.3%. So there definitely needs to be more of us. And this fresh crop of HBCU alums is looking to blaze a trail for others.
Blaze a trail.
Yeah. See what he did there? Blazing a trail.
Yeah,
see
the
what
fire
just
punishments don't stop.
no, we're just ablaze with all of this. One of the things that struck me is that, especially now when you look at what's going on in Canada with the forest fires, and how the effects of that, and perhaps this is an opportunity for students not only to go to California where those things are a regular thing, but to go to a for all intents and purposes, a foreign country and work with them as well. This isn't, I mean, it is a USDA Forest Service Center of Excellence in Forestry. That's what was created some 30 years ago. But also to go to different parts of the world, because if we can bring in firefighters from other parts of the world, certainly we can send our firefighters to learn and to expose these countries to the best that we have and people that look like us. And when you talk about the number of women that are make up the firefighting corps, if I'm not mistaken, the fire chief in Chicago is a Black woman. And that, it's just not, I mean, we hear of more cities where you have Black females who are chiefs of police, but not necessarily. And shout out to all the firefighters' kids out there. We are very proud of our dads, and especially those who were among the first in Chicago, anyway, to be firefighters, and still, we take a great deal of pride in those men, and that raised us, but also helped fight the fires in Chicago. And it's a dangerous job. I've talked about this before. Yeah,
that part right there, that dangerous part. Look, see, that is why Black people aren't really going and jumping at this job. And I wanted to ask you, do you know why your dad became did he ever tell you why he decided to take on that profession?
Yeah, because the opportunity to take the test to be a fireman came up before the Chicago Police Department.
It's a pretty
that's the God's honest truth. And to my mother's relief, that's what she wanted too. I don't.
Really?
Yeah, she wanted him to be a fireman as opposed to a Chicago policeman.
I always felt that the fireman was a more dangerous job than the policeman, because I know plenty of policemen who don't ever even pull their gun.
Right.
Their whole careers never even pull their gun out of the holster. And, we hear about the shootings and everything like that. But for the most part, most policemen don't do nothing.
And back in the day, that's true, man. My uncles who were cops, my uncle went through his entire career and never ever pulled a gun. And so, to hear that kind of stuff. But my dad went out every day, and they worked one day and they were off 2 days. So every other day would go out and in no matter what, like the post office, rain, snow, whatever it is, and heat of day, out there fighting, and freezing so much that the water coming from the hose would back spray on them and freeze their faces, and my dad broke bones and things like that. I am very, very, and so to put a pin in this, I'm very proud to be, as I said, the daughter of a Chicago fireman, but I really admire these young people, and I do hope that they stick with it, and I hope that this isn't a program that just falls by the wayside. I hope that it is something that they can build their own legacy. And
I just feel firefighters, whenever they get called out, it's a life and death situation. Almost every time, whether it be them or somebody they're trying to save. Doesn't have to be a fire, but they're usually there when somebody's having a heart attack or choking or something. They're there. So
before they were paramedics,
it was the
firemen. That's
so
what they
there's
did.
always a life and death situation when it comes to the firefighters. And Sylvia Crawford, I'm with you. I hope they compensated well for the forest fighter, for the forest.
I hope so too. I hope so too. The government USDA program has not done well by Black people, as we know, by the Black farmers, and that's something else that we should get on to, Khameron, and talking about that. But this is, I hope that they are well compensated. Sylvia, I'm with you, and thank you again, Khameron, for doing that. And here's something: if you know any young people that are involved in this program, we'd love to talk to them. I
would.
really would love to see
I got
what
questions.
propelled them to do this, right? And how are they being treated? How are they welcomed, or how does that work for them? And what do their folks think about it? What are their people saying too?
Khameron, when you said that the white counterparts had never seen a black person, was it never seen a black person in their life, or had never seen a black person doing that job?
Never seen a black person in their life except for on TV.
That is wild. I thought we've permeated. I thought we've reached everywhere. So that's very wow. Okay, where do they live?
Yeah,
we need to go visit.
Wyoming, maybe, because when we went to Wyoming, we were like, "Oh, we're black. How do you do?" So I don't know, but it is. Well, they got football players, so certainly they see black people do other things. They can get them to come and play. Among the other stories that we covered in the What You Need to Know newsletter, it did want to talk about this that just burned my nerves, and this is the decision that came down on Friday. Ahmed, I think we both talked about this in our own ways. In which a judge in Tulsa dismissed a case with prejudice against the 3 survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre.
Yeah. We covered this in at the Black Information Network, and you have 3 survivors from that time period, all over 100 years old, each person, and you're looking for some restitution for them. And the judge basically said that there's no reason for the state or the city to do anything for them,
right.
And like you said, without prejudice, which means don't bring this back up again. It's done. Sit it down.
Because they did bring it back from, what was it, 2000, this is 23, so maybe 22, 21, and she allowed them to bring this back. But here's the thing. We now know, many of us now know the history of what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, May 31st and June 1st, how a black man was wrongly accused by a white woman. Again, he was arrested and was going to be hanged, right? And with the killing of this black man, black people became enraged again because of the wrongs being done upon their people. And the white people went up in arms, and truly in arms with their guns. They created a race riot, totally decimating a very successful part of Tulsa, Oklahoma, known as Black Wall Street. And as a result, and Kevin Woodson, one of my favorite historians, talked about the fact that this was the first time that airplanes bombed sections of the United States. In 1921, they had the wherewithal to bomb this area known as Black Wall Street, where black people were the most successful, that many had ever seen in this country. And these 3 people, 109, 108, and 102, survived this. And the history has been watered down so much. Now they say that historians have said over 300 people perished in this bombing. People lost their lives, they lost their jobs, their livelihoods. Everything was taken away from them.
Historians say 300, but in the government says it's 30.
Right.
So there's somewhere between 30 and 300, and that is one heck of a gap.
And that is what happens when you take the books off the shelves, when you allow people to water down your history, and then you get a judge says, well, you guys are doing okay. You don't need any help. You don't need anything. They deserve it. I mean, and so do a lot of people in Tulsa who are still trying to get back to where their parents and grandparents and great-great-parents were 100 years ago.
And Renee Woodridge, again, without prejudice means they can't appeal it. They're done. It's a wrap.
So, Med, and I, said that in the story, but their attorneys are saying they may still appeal. How can they just say that? I
don't know how you appeal a without prejudice decision unless they have a different angle.
Right.
Like it can't be the same case.
Right.
So it would have to be something they come up with completely different
Yeah.
to attack it. I don't see how you can appeal without prejudice after it's been appealed, and like this time the judge is like, nah, no more, it's done. So unless they come up with a different case or something else to claim, I don't see how they can appeal this case.
And then may I add a different judge. She's been on this too long, and it's time to move to another venue. Like, if they allowed it to happen in Donald Trump's case, they should allow this to happen in another part of the state of Oklahoma. All right. So those are a couple of stories, and I know we talked a lot about these two stories, but check out the What You Need to Know newsletter. And it is absolutely free. We'd love to have you subscribe. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Includes a number of things, including the Black Health update, Black Health Care, and the Little Known Black History Fact, the HBCU Corner, and Yogi's Jewel, and we will have that a little bit later. Med, you have the return of a very, very fine guest.
Yes.
And would you please welcome him in?
Yes, definitely. He is the CEO of the Chicago Scholars. He is the one and only Jeffrey Beckham.
And on vacation.
Yeah, I got the vacation reply on the email. I'm like, oops, wrong email. But welcome, Jeffrey Beckham. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing well. How are you all?
Great.
I'm doing great.
Is that your fine artwork behind you?
It is my Ruby Bridges piece. I think it's actually about timely to have her face here and bring her into the conversation at the moment. But yeah, this is the Bridges Ruby Cross piece I did.
Wow,
how much that one cost?
It gives me chills just looking at it.
That's a piece. Go get it.
When we were talking about having you on again, Cameron's younger sister was saying that she was one of your scholars. And talk about a little bit, Jeff, about what you do with young people in the Chicago area and how you put them on the trajectory towards greatness.
Yeah, well, Chicago Scholars for the last 26 years has worked with over 5,000 first generation and low income students to help them find and identify the right school. We work with students at the end of their junior year and stay with them through the senior year of high school and then through college. We use something called fit and match. And so we work with students to identify schools that are both the right financial fit, the cultural fit, of course, a fit for them academically. And then we have partnerships with the schools. So students who may not typically be seen by schools that are highly selective are able to find those institutions. And then we have a team that works with the students to persist to graduation. Normally, when you talk about students from the lowest economic quartile, they graduated at about a 9% rate. At Chicago Scholars, 78% of our students graduate within 6 years. So we know we're doing something to really change the paradigm for first gen and low income students.
And Jeff, this last week has really brought to the forefront the necessity of programs like yours. We know what the Supreme Court has done and what they are planning to do is statewide around the country as well. How does this make you feel, and what can we do to help you in helping young people to succeed where the courts are trying to keep them down?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely exceptionally disappointing for the work we do. Obviously, when you say first generation and low income in Chicago, you're talking about 93% Black and brown students, 89% students who are low income in our program. And there are many more that need the support of what we do. And so by removing race-based admissions and opportunities to find these students, you're effectively canceling out tons and thousands of students across the country who will not be seen, but also there's no merit or provided reason for certain institutions to have to go seek out and find those students. I think Judge Sotomayor said it the best. She said the court stands in the way and rolls back decades of precedents and momentous progress.
How maddening is it that one man who benefited from all of this, to be on the United States Supreme Court, and yet it's like that picture where you see one black man's hand and arm pulling up and reaching up another black man, right? He ain't heavy, I think it's called. And then, pulling it back and saying, psych. It's just, what kind of human being does this?
I mean, we can speak to the historic precedent of Justice Thomas's own self-hate. And it's hard to identify, what is going on in his brain. But then you have to add to him Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who is the least experienced justice to ever sit on the bench. And so affirmative action certainly has helped her along the way. I guess it's okay when it's for them, but it's not good when it's for others.
Because they have legacy. Yeah. So tell us about the group of kids that you have now, and or those that are just are headed off to college. Where are they going? What are they doing?
Yeah, so this last class of scholars we just sent off had an average GPA of 3.6, and I think that that's also another misnomer when we talk about race-based admissions. Most people think, oh, you're giving students that aren't prepared or aren't able and capable to handle the rigor and instruction of highly selective institutions into these roles, these colleges, and that's just not the case. So our students, for instance, are students who go to the best students in the country, or best schools in the country. They thrive at those schools and they graduate. So again, when we talk about this decision, it was rooted in a lot of misinformation and non-starter, non-fact. It's not Black students taking seats away from Asian students. It's legacy admissions, if anything else. But that's not the case. But again, when you're told one thing, I really my heart aches to some degree for the those that were, I will say, falsely guided by Ed Bloom, who's been pushing this narrative for a long time. But our students will still get there because thankfully to our program does provide support. The challenge is, I know the numbers here. Every year there's about 4,000 students plus who are college ready, 3.0 or better in Chicago public schools. We're working with 600. You have Hope Chicago, Posse, Link, but we're not hitting a critical mass of those young people, right? There's 15,000 juniors that enter each year, right? And so when you look at that, like, we may be hitting 10 to 15% collectively with our programs that can support students into these institutions, but what about the rest? And that's the question that I've been asking colleges and institutions as I've been visiting them. What about the rest? And what are you willing to do? We know that some of the schools have said they'll stand up social economic factors and status if you're Pell eligible or you come from low income families. But again, the data is out there and it already shows that when those things are taken into account over race or instead of race, the graduates of those institutions are still predominantly white. And so, without making and calling out race a factor, the Supreme Court basically allowed for the conversation or narrative to say, I don't see color, which we all know.
And then bring out the Dr. King line, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
No, so Jeff, you and I talked, and we had a great discussion this past Sunday on the Black Perspective on the Black Information Network. And one thing I definitely want you to bring up, because it was so poignant to me, and it was the main part of the interview that I ran this weekend, is you talked about imposter syndrome that our kids are facing, along with tips for students when it comes to trying to find the right college for them. Because I don't think a lot of people think about the college fairs and things of that nature. You were bringing up some things that I didn't even think about when it comes to that and why they should be doing it. So can you go talk a little bit about the imposter syndrome and then also what they should be doing to get prepared for college, regardless of the Supreme Court ruling?
Yeah, I mean, I go back to my own personal experience, right, at the University of Missouri, Columbia, walking on that campus as a first-time college student, first male in my family to graduate from college. That first week of, navigating the college campus, walking in engineering building west and looking at all of the people, none of which looked like me, and trying to navigate that was really difficult. A lot of what we do at Chicago Scholars is tell and work with students to find and identify their people. Again, students do well when they're operating in community and they know they're supported. One of the things this ruling does is, it puts a big flag out there for many institutions to tell Black and brown students, and particularly Black students, you're not wanted and you're not desired here. And so all that does is add to the imposter syndrome that so many of our young people are challenged with. But like I told Med this past week, we tell students you are capable, you are supposed to be there, you are at the tables you're supposed to be at, and we're going to make sure you have a supportive network of individuals both here in Chicago, but also with those that we work with on college campuses to find the right people and guidance you need to graduate. I also tell students now is the time more than ever before to evaluate colleges like you are the person employing them. You're spending $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 a year. You're the customer. And what that means is that there's a set of things and demands you can make on these institutions. And if they don't hold their end of the bargain up, you can go elsewhere. There are a lot of schools out there that will be willing and welcoming to our young people. And I know that it's going to shift the narrative and what's
and it's like my mother with men and her husbands. If one doesn't work, you keep moving to the next one till you find the right fit, right?
Yes, it's true. It's true.
I went to Boston for a year because of a guy, and then I ended up back at Northwestern. It didn't work. So, I'm saying, Khameron, does any of this make sense to you as a young man who's working on a college campus, but also went through something that may have been similar?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing from my perspective, and Jeff, I work for UIC as a community affairs specialist in the North Lawndale neighborhood. So I'm all about just enlightening students to post-secondary attainment. And what it is that I see is students have this perception that the college education isn't as valued anymore as it used to be. What I'm also seeing is that our HBCUs, thankfully, are getting a lot of traffic now. So much to a point where the capacity of our HBCUs is really being tested, is really, I mean, this is the stress test right now. We're experiencing an exodus, a bit of a migration out of the PWIs. So the way that I put it to students is that historically speaking, college education still increases earning potential for Black students reliably over any other thing that you could possibly get. But in your line of work, in this instant gratification era, how do you go about still instilling the need of a college education to students?
Yeah, I mean, Khameron, you hit it on the head. I talked about this on Fox, that the college in general, college universities are at a point of an existential crisis, right? There are things, this was happening before this decision. The idea, the value proposition of college, paying close to $200,000 or taking on debt to get a degree that you may or may not use down the road, right? And so one of the things that I've expressed to a lot of our institution partners is that they have to do a better job too of talking about the things that you get beyond the paper. Yes, the degree matters, right? The degree is the value. The degree is the basically certification to say that you can learn at a high level and do a certain set of things. But there's the network and also the ability to go amass and build other skills on a campus. I actually spoke to some students yesterday and I said, your requirement is like, take advantage of every other thing there that they have that they'll allow you to do for free. Learn advanced manufacturing, take a foreign language, learn writing, pick up AI and learn how to become a prompt engineer. They're offering all of these things as either supplemental and or certificates or minors that you can take along with the thing you major in. And so we have to be able to express that and then also point to students and say, here's where you can go with the degree you're going to have. I actually saw some data from the Federal Reserve that said, 4 million jobs in the next 5 years will be replaced due to automation, another 9 million to AI alone. So you're talking about losing 13 million, not jobs, 13 million careers, industry sectors, lines of career of in the next 4 to 5 years. That is astronomical, right? And so then again, it goes back to the point of how do we express to students there is still value in college, and what does that look like and mean for them in their journey? And you're right, like this is something that will put a huge amount of stress on our HBCUs. So, for those of us that have gone to HBCUs, I did not, but I call myself a son of Tuskegee because they've been a huge supporter of me personally. I donate to Tuskegee, right? We have to put our money where our mouth is. We have to work with our own, graduating classes or alumni base to endow scholarships for Black students on these institutions, because those are the things that we can do to make sure that our students get what they need and that our schools are prepared. But it's going to be a challenge. You know, there's schools like Howard and Morehouse and Spelman, North Carolina A&T. They get tens of thousands of applications every year. And so they're really struggling too to be able to sift through and find students. Not that they can't find them, but they like, how do you build a class when you have 10,000 students who are all prepared?
Right.
Yeah. That's a challenge. And then what
and
are we
ready
doing
to go on day one?
That's right. And what do we do for the students who don't get in those schools, who, you know, again, may not be welcome on certain campuses or desired? You know, there's going to be a challenge there. And so I think we have to continue to talk about the value proposition of college, what it means for the future, but then also, you know, point to careers and that's part of what we do, is have relationships with companies who are ready and willing to hire and support the students that come through our program.
Jeff, we've run out of time. Two things. First of all, how can people get in touch with you and support you?
Yeah, chicagoscholars.org, or you can add me, Jeff Beckham or Jeffrey Beckham on LinkedIn, Instagram. Happy to chat, happy to build relationships. So if you're a school career partner out there, please reach out. Khameron, I know your sister. Is your sister Quinn? She's amazing.
Yeah, that is the amazing Quinn.
Quinn Townsend Riley, one of the most dynamic young women I've ever met, and a Chicago Scholar alum. So again, proof that the collective work that we do together leads to young people who also create more impact. So thank you all.
Yeah, and she's now a professor at in Virginia, so she's doing really great things. And next time we have you on, we will definitely have Quinn join us as well. And the second thing is, how can people follow you with your artwork? Because I don't have a lot of money right now, but that Ruby Bridges painting is calling my name. I don't know how.
Yeah, I love it. That's artbyjeffbeckham.com.
Okay. All right, cool. Jeff, thank you so much. It's great to see you and talk to you again, and to hear your words of inspiration, and what you're doing for the kids is absolutely wonderful. You really do love the kids.
I do.
Thanks so much, and enjoy your vacation. Jeff. Thank you for joining us. Great job as always, Med. Let's move to trending. I just love that painting. Oh my gosh.
No, that when he put that out there that he did it, because he showed like the beginning process of it, and when he finished it, I was like, "Hey, man, I know that's expensive." That's all I said. That thing looked amazing. When I first saw it, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy."
Yeah, that's just calling my name. Let's talk about what's going on. Happy Free Slurpee Day. I don't know if you guys went and got your free Slurpees.
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
Ain't nothing down here.
Yeah. I can't tell you the last time I've had a Slurpee, free or otherwise, but I was actually thinking about it on the way to the airport. I don't know if they were handing them out at 6 o'clock in the morning, but free Slurpees for everyone if you can still get out there. I understand that a little organization, a little mom and pop organization called Amazon is having their Prime Days today and tomorrow. Have either of you broken out the credit card and what'd you get?
Oh, there's little like memory cards, things that I need for, I got, a little something, this is,
something that you can put on your subterranean vessel. Right. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, just a neck patty whack. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's on the bone. Khameron, what about you? Are you a shopper?
I've been looking. I've been waiting to see which of my credit cards are going to give me Amazon cash back rewards before I tap the credit cards.
Wait, what? Yeah. Wait, what? What's that?
Discover. They give me Amazon cash back rewards. I'm sorry.
Amazon is a pretty good. I mean, they've come a long way.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And but here's the other thing. Because Amazon has started this, other businesses are following in suit. I know Target is doing it. Home Depot is having sales on
they call them anti-Prime Day sales.
Right. whatever it is, people can benefit from this. So
They
you don't
better
have
have.
to just wait. Yeah. And for most of us, sending kids back to school, we're like a month in now, and so or a month away
back to
from
school.
making all of this. So it's a good time
We're
to
2
make.
weeks away over here, so
Wow.
it's crazy. I know.
Like
it's
the
about that
1st of
time. Wow.
August.
It is the 30th. I think the 31st of July. He goes back.
Oh my God.
Oh.
And he's 3. Oh my, I know he's 8, but it's like,
I know.
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, 31st of July he goes back, I believe. And but you're right. No, it's funny because you want to go purchase things at Amazon. You probably were waiting because they kept on promoting it, and you're like, I wonder. It's basically, it feels like darn near everything is on sale on Amazon right now. So,
But is it a good sale? It's like, I don't go with anything that's under 20%. If it's
they have plenty of stuff that's
12,
over 20. Everything
okay.
everything that I got was over 20%. Like well over 20%. And it was like, and it makes sense. Purchases stuff that I needed to get.
Right.
I just waited until the day to get it.
Right. Any Dungeons and Dragons stuff, Khameron?
Everything D&D related, I may or may not be able to procure through other means. I'll leave it at that.
Got it. Okay. With a
there's like a black market that we need to know about.
I know. Wouldn't the black man know about the black market?
Aaron says, I got a guy.
Right.
And he beats all their deals. I got a guy.
That's right.
I got a guy.
So check this out and look at your calendars, gentlemen, and ask, what year is this? 3 crosses burned at a small Los Angeles church, and authorities are investigating the possibility of hate crimes.
2023.
Yeah, 2023. Welcome to our universe.
Yeah.
The reports say firefighters responded to a report of a fire shortly before 5 a.m. in the Sylmar, California area. 3 crosses in the garden in the front of the church were scorched from flames, but by the time the firefighters arrived, the fire had ceased. Authorities say there was a garden hose nearby, but it's still unclear if someone put out the flames. There's still reminders of the many ways that Jim Crow's America still exists. Despite the overwhelming number of black and white photos that suggest otherwise. But it's not just the racism, it's also the violent threats, particularly those that are reminiscent of the Klan. People will tell you every day that the hanging nooses and other forms of intimidation are common. And a lot of people say, oh, no. But yeah. You can call it whatever you want, in your NASCAR car
regalia.
Yeah. But let's call it out.
See, what I've always found, when it came to white people and racism, for them it has to be clear black and white racism for it to be racist to them. Right. If you give them a gray area, they're going to run with the gray area.
Grab the gray.
They see burning crosses. They say it's just a bonfire. It's just a little bonfire in front of the church. They're trying to roast marshmallows for Jesus. You know what I'm saying? They were just trying to light up the night for Jesus. But I always say, like, those things that really date back to, you really can't explain this, but it's racist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's always interesting to me where you hear the police and you hear people like, well, we're investigating. It might be. I'm like, it might be.
No, trust and believe.
Did you not read your history books? They left that in.
Yeah.
They left the burning crosses in the history books. That's signature right there. That's a callback. Yeah.
So it's good that you mentioned this, and it's also good that people recognize this, Med. And so the LAPD and the FBI have said they are going to investigate this case as a hate crime.
Oh, that's good.
And they damn well should.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Is anybody planning to go to Vegas anytime soon?
No, I went for the first time this year, though.
Oh, you did do Vegas, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Khameron, you and the boys, anything Vegas?
A friend of mine's headed down to Vegas for Evo this year.
Oh, okay. So tell him to be careful, because a man claiming to have a gun barricaded himself in a hotel room at Caesars today. Caesars Palace, holding a woman against her will, and then started throwing things out of the window like a lamp.
Right. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. I thought you couldn't even open the windows at Caesar.
That's what they tell you, especially after that horrific massacre they had, where the man, went and with all of his gun power and killed those
Shot up the
people.
concert.
Yeah.
But also so you don't throw yourself out of the window when you lose a lot of money.
Too much money away,
Yeah.
right? They say it started Tuesday morning with a call for a possible domestic violence at the casino resort Caesars. I'm telling you, this is when officers arrived. They say the man bolted into a room as they were trying to make contact and told them he wasn't coming out. Not just that. He told him that he was armed. He yanked a woman into the room with him. What? Just
a woman, like a random woman, not his woman?
Random woman.
Oh, that's
wow.
terrible. Yeah.
And they said he shattered windows as he's throwing items out of his room.
Shattered
which
window.
was on a high floor. But these windows are not supposed to break.
No.
One reported object that came down was a chair. By this afternoon, the Los Angeles Metro Police Department released a statement saying they had taken the suspect into custody, and the female who was also in the room was safe and with officers, and probably at the bar, and not even having to gamble in order to get a free drink.
I'm just saying, it sounds like drinks and a bad night at the table. So that's what it sounds like to me.
Incidentals.
Man.
Wow. The hunt is still on for the murder suspect with survivalist skills. 34-year-old Michael Charles Burnham escaped a Pennsylvania jail following an early multi-state hunt. This is manhunt. This is not his first rodeo in escaping and being tracked down. He's suspected in several crimes, including the murder of a New York woman. He escaped from the Pennsylvania jail, I think it was Friday, that they discovered he tied his bed sheets together and threw it out. And
that still works?
Yeah.
I've been seeing that in cartoons for years.
Right. Bugs Bunny, just because Bugs does it doesn't mean that, we can do it. But yeah, he's found that it does still work, and tried and true, and triggered a massive multi-agency, multi-state manhunt, and warnings from officials that he is very dangerous. He knows how to live off the land. He's done it for months at a time, and that he is going to hopefully not be as successful as he has been in the past. So, and this last thing, 2 days, the court case of Aretha Franklin's will. They started yesterday, they ended today. The Aretha Franklin will found in her couch has been deemed valid by a jury. A big win for two of her sons. They determined the handwritten document found, and it really does say, I, Aretha Franklin, being of sound mind, this document found in a couch is a valid will, a major development after years of her kids battling over her estate. The ruling on the hard-to-read pages came in Tuesday in a Michigan court. The will was found in 2019, a year after she passed away, in a notebook tucked under the couch in her Detroit home. The docs, which are dated March 31st, 2014, significantly different from a 2010 draft and of the will. And the newer pages apparently designate her sons, Kekaf and Edward, as executors of her $6 million estate. And I think that's on the low end of what people are saying, unless that money is already gone. And it looks like the name Teddy, aka Ted White II, their brother, who was planned as executor in 2010 version, is crossed out.
So are they saying that the 2014, the 2014 will supersede that's the one we're going with?
Why? I don't understand what came down, but this, and it's going to take some more reading into this and brighter scholar legal minds than I.
Interesting.
But yeah.
I guess, the simplest form in my mind is, well, if this is legit, then this trumps the earliest one, because this is a rewritten will.
Right.
So this is the last thing she said. So we're going to go off of the last thing she said if we've legitimized it. So if that's the case, then sorry, Teddy.
Yeah, Ted, we out of here.
Man.
That's it's very sad. All right, so let's move to entertainment, and this is good news. One of my favorite tennis players, tennis pro Naomi Osaka, has revealed that she's officially a new mom.
Hey.
25-year-old tennis champ and her boyfriend, rapper Corday, have welcomed their newborn baby girl. I have not seen the name yet, in Los Angeles. And it's not even clear when she arrived because she's very private and keeping. And I like that. Yeah, that's your business, little girl. Go on and live your life. But she and her baby daddy shared the information on Instagram and with several media outlets, and so good for them. And can I just say, Corday, I don't know you, and I really don't. I just want you to, first of all, be good to our girl, and secondly, don't pull a same trick that another baby daddy did last week, talking about your woman and what she's wearing.
Don't do that. Don't do that. She's a mother.
And you are too, for doing some stuff like that.
She's
calling her out in public like that. But okay.
Please go get the Keke Palmer merch, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So if that's the bottom line, okay.
Get the merch.
Yeah. Then more power to you. I'm not sure if I approved of the way you're doing your sales, but it's just not. And it's a lot like a DJ told me a long time ago, and because I was doing a show, and I said, and we thought we had the merchandise, but he goes, we don't talk about family business like that.
No, ever.
And it was in his best, Godfather voice. We don't,
because I always say, even if they get back and everything works out to everybody, to all of us, he will always be this.
This mother father.
Red carpet, they smiling.
That's why they tell you, don't talk about your man with your girlfriends, because we never forget.
Don't forget.
Yes.
Ever.
And especially when you go public on Insta.
Ooh,
so
God.
Yeah.
Do not clown yourself, please.
Please. We're going to close out, guys, with our daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Emotional and mental abuse can be just as harmful as physical abuse. Be aware of predators and protect yourself.
Come on, predators.
Words to live by. All right. Thanks, guys. I hope that you have a wonderful remainder of the week. Thank you so much. Well, you got anything?
Hey, look, we can go. We can go.
I can send you back to Prime, and you can, if you got more shopping to do.
No more shopping. Never shop at all. What are you talking about, Sybil?
And Khameron, I know you have things to do. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Jeffrey Beckham. I love the conversation as always. And follow him, and let's try to make good on promises to help our young people as often as we can. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you all again soon. Aloha.